you have a president, ex-president, that underwent and was not even apocryphal going through his transformation, his ascension to mytho-human status, like Talos in the Elder Scrolls games. He was becoming more than man. You know, you had something happen to him. He got shot, okay, which statistically, when you look at it, isn't that abnormal for a president. We've had about 40-something presidents, and 6 to 7 of them have been shot. So if you're president, you have a more than 10% chance of being shot. I think that's how the math works out. But let's pretend it is something incredible that happens. And it is. It is. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. So you have something that galvanized your base, a gift. Really. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, apologies, someone did die, but, you know, it was a gift for the campaign overall. And it even gave him an opportunity to humble himself and talk about the person who died, et cetera. There are all kinds of avenues to capitalize on it. So you had something so incredible and life-changing and campaign-changing happen to you. And what you do is follow up with the dullest RNC that you possibly can. And then furthermore, get wrapped up in these weird... The Democrats are just completely falling apart with Kamala Harris. You know, they're going through the brat, and, like, I get it. It's funny, but it's not really anything that's going to amount to votes. And instead, you're biting on that. You're biting on someone called JD Vance weird. You're fighting with Brian Kemp off of your Truth Social soundboard. It makes no sense. Everyone forgot you got shot. That should be everywhere. That should be all we're still talking about. Why aren't we looking more into the shooter? Why aren't we zoning in on that? Why aren't we talking about the political climate and how the media has fostered it and the Democrats have helped with that to make it so terrible and polarizing in this company? You had such a chance to do that, to bring everyone together on this issue and get behind you, and now it's all gone. You've burned all that goodwill. Kamala's in the lead.
I think you put the blame at the appropriate thing. Trump had the sauce after the shooting, and he threw it all away at the RNC. It's almost like a miraculous turn of events, but for the Democrats, because after Trump was shot, the world's eyes were on him. Like, literally, were on him, and he had like you said, he had like a mythological status at that point after being shot. And what did he do next? He went on stage at the RNC right next to a porn star, a Democrat union guy who won't even endorse him, and some random Indian woman who spent 10 minutes praying to Vishnu. It's like
Vishnu on the blockchain.
Yeah, it's like, I can't believe I'm saying this as an Asian guy from New Zealand, but this is America, and this is the GOP. You don't pray to Vishnu. You don't talk about how much you love gay sex on the RNC. Like, are they stupid?
Well, put it this way, and I'm sorry, this is a harsh truth for a lot of people. Most of the reason why Trump ran 2016, yes, he had a great campaign. It was grassroots, and he was able to kind of tap into some frustrations that the American people were having at that time. But Hillary Clinton was spectacularly unlikable to an extremely high level that we haven't seen in many candidates. That helped him out a lot, which also, I mean, it also, in a sense, was proven in the next election. Everyone was aware of Biden's senility, but they didn't like Trump enough to keep him in office another 4 years. But what he did do in 2016, I mean, he did get some independent votes. Some people turned out that usually didn't. But those people that turned out aren't people who like Ruby Rose or praying to Vishnu or anything like that. These disparate outlier, supposed big tent conservative apparatuses. We're just talking about normal white guys that didn't vote. Those are the people that come out and gave Trump the election in 2016. Those people, along with their suburban wives, left Trump in 2020. Never came back. All he needs to do is get them back out there, and he'd have an easy win. He can't do it. Instead, he's just chasing this fool's gold black vote that's never going to come to fruition in any of our lifetimes.
You know why?
Why?
Him and his campaign, they refuse to acknowledge the fact that they won in 16 off the white vote, and they won in 16 off, sorry to say it, but they won in 16 off a subtle white identitarianism flavor of a campaign.
Sure,
it's just true. They won off like a really subtle version of white.
It was baked into that
nationalism.
Populism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, not like that, but like,
I know
white
identitarianism.
Yeah. And you know, I think they got really, really confident, and they thought, oh well, I'm Trump. I've secured them so hard that now I can take my time off and start courting other voters. But it's not like that. You didn't do anything for them. And you think that praying to Vishnu on stage is gonna get them like riled up to vote for you? No, dude. You know?
Did he consult the same marketing think tank that convinced Disney to go after the female audience and say, hey, dudes are already going to go out and see Star Wars, so we need to go after this other 50%. Says, oh, all those white dudes, they're all going to vote for Trump anyways, along with their suburban wives. We need to go after these inner city crack addicts. I don't know.
Did you see this quote? It was so brazen, and it made me so angry. But this is before Trump was...
what was it? My name is Tyson? Hi.
No, this is between the RNC and Trump after got shot. But they were so overconfident and so cocky that they were saying, oh yeah, you know what? At this point, I think we might beat Biden from the left. That's how they were earnestly saying, yeah, we have the right secured so much. I think we're going to try to beat Biden from the left now. It's like, okay, you don't even have
this. As Trump, you don't even have the center right secure. Those people are still Mitt Romney, Nikki Haley-ites that have a vote that are up for grabs that kind of call it a toss at the end of the day. I hate them. I hate that voter, but they exist, unfortunately. And you should start catering to them for the independent, the so spoken of independence that people think exists that are center left and undecided, or maybe are, oh, I'm sick of this gender war crap, I'm gonna vote for Trump. They don't exist to the left. Those are people that are on the center right that you're failing to capture right now. And it really is a shame. I'm not sure what direction he's supposed to go in at this point. I think, it's funny. I saw a tweet the other day, and it was, well, when Trump wins in November, so right after Trump got shot.
Bold claim.
I got carried away with it on air myself, and you somehow, maybe it's your separation and being on an island. We're looking at it with a sober mind. You said there's a lot of time, and take this, okay? Don't get full of yourself. But you said there's a lot of time between now and November, and boy, were you not kidding, man? Like, it's like they already ruined it within the 2 weeks after you said that.
So you had 5 months. They needed 2 weeks, dude. That's how stupid they are.
the wrong kind of just wait 2 weeks. Just wait 2 weeks for us to ruin everything. So these people, these Trump hopefuls, are still talking as if they're still talking as if it's 2 days after the shooting. That's what they're still saying. They're still talking as if Trump is on that podium raising his hand with a bloodied face with an American flag in the background. That's gone. That feels like a fever dream to me now. That's their fault.
I've never seen a campaign squander that fat of an advantage this quickly. It's actually miraculous. And you know what's even more funny? All their efforts trying to flank Biden from the left, by courting the black voter or the Vishnu voter, all their efforts are obliterated by the pure fact that Biden has dropped out and Kamala is running now. You think any of the GOP's effort to court the black vote or the minority vote, you think the minorities are going to care?
Yeah.
In the face of a black woman like Kamala running? You think like if Trump goes up on stage and talks about, oh, I've done so much for the black unemployment rate, you think a black person is going to look at that and be like, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump instead of Kamala? No, dude.
No, not at all. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, he won't get up on stage and say it. He'll get up on stage and say, dirty Christopher Wray, he's still legit. Like, no one cares. No one cares about these petty infights that you've been having over the past few years. So he's completely adrift, and it's a shame.
It's really sad to say this, but dude, Trump has no more charisma. He's been dulled so completely. I'm not sure if you saw this clip, right? But I think this is a rally from 2 days ago. But Trump went on stage and he said, do you want Kamala, someone who's fake, or do you want Trump, someone who will fight? It's like, okay, can I please kill myself, dude? Please.
He's doing the canned speeches now. Well, Trump Trump acolytes who have to twist themselves into pretzels trying to defend his moral character and his constantly changing views. The one escape hatch that they've always had is they can go, well, Trump is Trump and he always tells it how it is. So even if you don't like that he cheats on his wife or isn't genuine in his Christianity, he gets up there and he looks you in the eye and he said, that's not Trump anymore. That's not Trump at all. He's deflated. He throws his hands up on certain issues. Said, "Oh well, that's what they, blah blah blah." And that's who I see now. I mean, you don't have the firebrand in 2016 that you had before that wasn't afraid to get up on stage and do these things. He wants to be this diplomat. Okay, it reminds me of. This makes no sense, and I don't know why I'm telling this story, but I guess it's just snippets from my storied career of listening to talk radio. I was listening to The Blaze one time, and it was in the early 2016 election, and Glenn Beck was talking to Ted Cruz, and he kind of caught him in a gotcha question, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but Ted Cruz kind of froze for a second and then gave this diplomatic answer that just didn't sound genuine. And after they got off air, Glenn Beck realized, he said, that was the first time I've ever heard Ted Cruz calculating in his mind and trying to find question? I don't remember, unfortunately, but that's what reminds me of Trump now. It reminds he's not someone who just gets on. He's being genuine and he's saying what he wants to say. This brash person, the wrecking ball. Instead, he just cares about how he's viewed. He cares about what he's saying and how it's perceived and how that will matter from an optics standpoint and what he can do to like play favorably with other parts in the party. It's just stupid. It's kind of boring. He's turned into a normal politician is what's happened. Yeah. And people notice that.
There's nothing separating this campaign right now from the Romney campaign except it's a little bit more spicy. That's literally it, dude. There's nothing separating that.
That's such a good point. There really isn't much to go. Even the civility is there. It's kind of boring, but you put it this way. I mean, I think Republicans really overplayed their hand in talking about how senile Biden was. Because eventually Biden went, you're right, I am senile. I'm going to drop out. And they didn't realize most voters didn't like Biden. They hate Trump. Okay, a lot of voters really can't stand Trump. He's an unlikable president. I understand that. But the reason why they weren't voting for Biden was, well, he's a vegetable. I need to vote for someone that's at least coherent and lucid and put him into office. That's no longer the case. Biden's not there anymore. We drove him out of the office. We should have kept him in there. We'd been like, Biden's fine. Are you kidding me? Keep him in there. He's great. He should have been in there on election day. It should have been Biden versus Trump. They should have tried to make that happen, but instead they forced him out in the a very short-term gain. And the DNC, which, again, we saw in disarray for the first time in years, they're able to fall back on their feet. This is a party that's known for rallying their troops and getting everyone in line.
Say what you want to say about what you want to say about the DNC, but when one of their own goes up, they back their own relentlessly. Unlike the GOP, who has these weird little fucking infights. Whenever someone steps up and says, "Okay, I'm the person for the DNC," everyone comes out the back for them, no matter who it is. And it's like, totally. Really, you can't do that for Trump? Really, dude?
Why would you? So all those
that brings me to a really good point. Yeah. I want to enter a trade deal with you, a metaphysical trade deal. So I'm willing to concede that you were right in placing more blame on Trump than I originally expected. I am willing to concede that yes, Trump is stupider than I originally thought, and I can't put all the blame on personnel. I'm willing to concede that. If you're willing to concede that I was right on wanting to punish the GOP because of their arrogance and that Vance is a terrible pick. Can we make that deal?
Well, you just mentioned one thing and then said, as long as you're willing to admit two other things, this is a terrible trade deal and the worst history trade. What I will tell you is that the relationship between Trump and the GOP is so incestuous now with Laura Trump on the RNC chair that they are one and the same. I'm sorry, yep. MAGA and the RNC are the same now. And I still, to this day, maintain that MAGA was an egalitarian populist movement, more so than traditional conservatism that's eventually enmeshed itself into Romney conservatism and neoconservatism, and that's what we're stuck with now. But what I will admit is that Is JD Vance such a waste of everyone's time? I'm sorry, it's so bad. I try my hardest. You know, I love playing devil's advocate with what you say. Hillbilly elegy, hillbilly elegy, hillbilly elegy, hillbilly elegy. There we go. So it just, he's not. And again, you know why? This is being their mistake is being magnified in the fact that everyone's paying really close attention to who Kamala Harris is going to pick. And I think it's going to matter what they do, especially if they get the right demographic hit. Okay? Because Trump, he failed in this regard. Maybe because he thought that he was on such a high from what happened with the shooting that it didn't matter who he picked. He could walk in. So I might as well pick this somewhat online, you know, fringe figure that can maybe connect me to disparate parts of the party that are floating around like the intellectual sphere. But he's also not that guy as well. JD Vance is not that person. He's been too far separated from every
charisma black hole, dude. I've never seen someone with less sauce than this guy.
You know the thing that bothers me the most about him is that he hates where he comes from. That's the worst part.
That's what I was gonna say. I talked with this about with you a couple of days ago, but you know, you listen to one of these interviews that JD Vance did where he gives this TED talk, and he has so much vitriol for where he came from. Like the way he talks about his hometown, and he talks about his extended family. You know, it's like he's mocking them. He's like, yeah, you know, these people are fucking retards, and you know, I made it out because I was special, but these people, they're so dumb, and it's like, dude, like,
yeah, isn't the concern? Aren't they trying to connect with that everyman?
It's like, you know, you don't realize that these are your bread and butter voters. Like, come on, dude. Also, JD Vance comes from a family of fucking psychopaths. I think I've told you this before, but like, you listen to this interview, and he nonchalantly says like, yeah, you know, growing up in Appalachia, you just see a lot of like weird stuff that people treat as normal. You know, I saw my grandma just light my grandpa on fire, and you know, there's just things that we could deal with.
Oh, you know those crazy rednecks in Appalachia. It's like, no, your family has a history of hereditary mental illness, I would say. So
I think your grandma needs to be fucking locked up, dude. I think that's not really normal. You know,
I don't know how you could think that way, especially it depends. I mean, this is too broad of a subject to bring up now, but I'll just put it this way. I come from a crass culturalist area that I don't look on too fondly, but I don't hate it. I don't regret it. It's not that I'll just, you know, completely absolve myself of where I've come from. Makes no sense. So I don't understand that. It's your life. It's what made you who you are today. Really, more so for him. You know, I mean, it's what gave him the ability to write that stupid book.
Also,
that was an awful
he's
movie
kind of like
Adams.
he's kind of dumb as well, because people ask him, like in this TED talk, someone asked him a question like, "Yeah, so what's your solution for people in these low income neighborhoods?" And he's like his grand answer is like, "Yeah, you know, if you play the system right, you know, going to Harvard and Yale actually costs less money if you apply for the right scholarship." So it's like, oh, so your solution is just go to Yale. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's
which
really intelligent. Cool.
And also, Ivy League colleges are at a notorious. I mean, it's being challenged in some courts, but they're extremely selective with who they bring in a demographic sense. So I doubt some.
Just go to Yale, bro. Just go to Harvard. Cool.
That's the new learn to code, or just go to Yale, bro. It's all good. I know he could just say, you know, go for. I hate this answer because I can't stand when people talk like this, because then it'll just become a saturated industry. But you could just go the Mike Rowe route. I'm just saying, from a politician's perspective, this is what I would say. I'd be like, hey, look to get into a trade, work with your hands. There's a lot of demand for people, you know, just say stuff like that, you know. He can't even do that. And then there was that speech where it was, I like it. It's like an anagram or something. It's like a randomized word game of conservative phrases. He goes, I had a Diet Mountain Dew the other day. I guess that's racist or something. Like, is this some kind of strange word game that we're playing here? I don't understand. It's just reaching onto a board and pulling phrases off of it. It's just like, oh my gosh, and the crowd's like, okay, whatever. So,
whoa, yay!
Exactly. So again, and we said it on this very show, and I think you're right because you mentioned it, and I think I'm right too. Actually, now that I say this, because
Nice,
I
we're
know
both right.
I know you hate her. Yes, the rare cosmic alignment. He should have picked Christy Nome. That would have gone
Yep.
over a lot better. I'm glad that she shot her dumb dog and it is dead. And you're gonna hate this. He should have picked Nikki Haley. He should have picked Nikki Haley. That would have been a great combative element to Kamala Harris. And I also think that there are people you underestimate, and I don't pull this card often, so I'm just gonna need you to let me go with this one. You do not live in this country, and you do not talk to people in this country day to day. A lot of them like conservatives, like Nikki Haley. A lot. They like people like that.
I just don't see like what are you gonna get with Nikki Haley that you won't get with Kristi Noem?
I'm not gonna relitigate it. Well, Kristi Noem's MAGA adjacent, and Nikki Haley is the bridge that's conservative, neoconservative adjacent, and that's the divide that you want to heal. Kristi Noem is just mini Trump, you know. So but they're both women, and they're both marginally nice to look at. Kristi Noem more so, obviously. Are you fucking kidding me? I think she's so hot. And then there was some stupid. And you know what else? I don't want to beat this topic to death or anything. Whatever genetic disposition or throat disease or parasite he has crawling around in his chest right now, just please let it fucking kill him. I'm so sick of RFK. I fucking hate him because he is such an obvious plant. And even if he weren't a plant, just like how impressionable do you have to be and malleable do you have to be to say, well, I hate both of these guys, so RFK is the next guy. You know me, good old Kennedys are always, what are you talking about? I can't stand him, and he's terrible on every issue.
He really is a midwit filter. He really is a fucking midwit filter. And you know the funniest thing? So I won't say where I work at a job now, but I work in some form of conservative media.
Which is hilarious.
And you know, there was a period where Trump got shot and Biden stepped down, but both sides didn't have a VP. And my bosses earnestly told me, yeah, Tyson, it's really clear cut. At this point, both the GOP and DNC are in a race to see who can secure RFK as their VP pick. It's like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're right. Clear as crystal, sir. What are you talking about?
I see now. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, and it's so funny because older people won't admit to their own proclivities or preferences because they obviously have some subconscious, arrested development with the Kennedys growing up near them and seeing them on their TV screens. It's embedded in their psyche. So when they're like Manchurian candidates that are awakened when they hear the term, like, yes, a Kennedy, but they'll pretend, oh no, it's about the cases and the ideas that he has, on the issues. That's what's important. It's like, okay, well, when you look into those, it's terrible. And also he's insane. So, but look at him doing push-ups, just whatever. Hey, get a throat infection and die. I'm so sick of it. Okay, that's enough. So bottom line is, all right, you know what? We're solutions based here. Okay, what could he do right now to right the ship? I think he should drop Vance. Okay. And
absolutely.
Make him look incompetent. But he has time. He has time. If they can drop a whole candidate and put someone else in, he has time. He has time. Just say Vance wasn't the right fit.
And apparently it's really hard to drop a VP pick after you bring the VP pick on the RNC stage. Apparently, it's really hard to do, but I'm not really sure. But if they could drop Vance, absolutely they'd have to drop him. And also Trump really has to wisen up and just play to the white vote. Like that's if he says, yeah, I'm gonna do things for the white vote, and maybe if he gives a bone to the anti-war crowd and says, yeah, we're not going to invade Lebanon or fight Hezbollah, I think that would be a really smart move.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's not going to do any of that. He's just going to keep trading barbs and saying, oh, we're not weird. Haha. And also, Brian Kemp, I hate you. Just really boring stuff that doesn't make any sense. So, okay. Well, we'll have to let that one go. We'll see what happens with him in the next few months.
But before we move on to the next topic, who do you have for president right now? I think
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris.
I was going to say that. I think Kamala's going to walk into the White House at this point.
I think she recaptured a lot of lost voters that didn't like that Biden was obviously senile, and that's that. Just what does Trump have to offer to win them back? Nothing at all.
It's so funny watching like these like Joe Rogan and stuff saying like, oh, the media is so rigged. It's like Kamala was like the most unlikable presidential candidate. How is she gonna be a cool candidate now? It's like, dude, you're like 60, like nearly 60. Don't you realize that the media is rigged and they're gonna back whoever? It's like, that's not really interesting,
Yeah, I do like that. Just that phrase alone. Don't people realize? No, they don't.
They're stupid.
Inference by media is one of the most potent weapons on this planet, and it does inform how people think. So if the media is going to back here, and I love how up to this day, conservatives are still caught in the spell, and I think it's by design, by saying, but look at how hypocritical the media is being here. They just lie and lie and lie. They don't care. That's the point. That's a feature, not a bug. Are you serious? So why bother?
Dude, these guys talking about like, oh, Kamala in the Kamala in the presidential primaries. Dude, 90% of people on the planet don't even remember what they fucking had for dinner last night. You think they remember Kamala in the fucking primaries, dude? No way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And you know what's really strange? And maybe she'll stop getting off like daytime antidepressant medication and become the Kamala that I knew during Senate hearings. That was kind of like digging into someone as a prosecutor. I remember people were really scared of her. I mean, they pretended not to be frightened of her at the time, but she did really check off all the boxes. She was well-spoken. She is mixed race. She's got some big fat fucking honkers. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the problem here exactly? All of these elements add up and push you over the edge to make you a likable candidate. I think she's funny. I actually am terrified of her policy ideas. I think they're going to be awful for this country. But people see competency in her lucidity compared to Biden, and they don't see anything that Trump's offering besides a blender of his own ego.